Okay, last year with the pandemic, people filled up their cars and then parked them. And here in Arizona, that might not be the smartest thing to do. And that is where Shahey of Mazvo comes in. Shahey, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Brad. Happy New Year to you, sir.
So, okay, gas. We know that it's very low right now, and it's probably not the best thing to have going on in your car because it can get stale. What is that all about?
Yes, absolutely. The fuel can get stale from just sitting. It takes very minimal, like 2 months or more. What'll happen is the fuel tank can sweat. And of course, when it's half full or a quarter full, oxygen gets in there, and then oxygen mixed in with the fumes of the fuel, it'll break it down. So it can get stale, smell lacquery. So it's really not a good idea to not start the car or at least keep the tank full.
So, okay, so talking about that, what are some things we need to know about, filling up the car and doing things?
Yeah, the number one thing, if you know you're not going to be driving the vehicle for 2 or more months, you want to make sure that the gas tank is full capacity all the way. Use the highest octane that you can. Try to avoid putting any stabilizers in there. It's really not good. If you use the highest octane and you fill it up, you're closing the gap of that air, and so it allows the oxygen to just be outside and not penetrate that gas to make it stale. Try to start the car at least twice a week to let it run, to cycle the fuel pump, because it sits inside the fuel tank. You want it to be alive and healthy so it doesn't just get lacquery and then gummed up. And of course, if you have stale gas, don't fall into the trap of trying to put a stabilizer to cure it, because once it goes stale, it's bad. The best thing to do is to have a repair shop drain it, dispose of it properly through OSHA guidelines, and then fill it up with the freshest octane gas that you can.
Okay, what's a stabilizer?
A stabilizer is basically like a treatment the word stabilize. It stabilizes the fuel from breaking down faster. But it's a detergent. It's more of a, I don't want to use the word gimmick, but it's more of a marketing thing that is probably good for cars that are going to be in storage for several years, vintage cars, things like that. It'll help the breakdown of the viscosity of the gas to stay stable. And so for the regular person, mom, pop, average person that has a regular car, you don't want to use that. Just use the highest octane and make sure that it's filled, completely filled. You're not allowing any room for that oxygen to penetrate that gas.
Okay, I see a gas can there with you. Storage. I want to go out and get like probably almost maybe 4 or 5 gallons of gas to keep to the side just in case if this pandemic goes crazy again, right?
Right, yeah, and again, you want to do that, but if you're going to do the container, obviously this is just a regular gas can that you can use that if you're stuck on the side of the road to go and get gas and get you going. But the actual DOT approved tank is a no-spill tank that's different than this. It's got a spring-loaded opener. If you're going to store gas, you don't want to do more than 5 to 10 gallons, and each container has 5 gallons only. So 10 gallons would be pushing it, and make sure that it's that approved container, because otherwise the fumes can linger inside the garage or wherever you have it stored, and you know what'll happen. That's not a good thing. So, and of course, putting a rag on there if you don't have a cap, avoid all of that. You want safety. So get a Department of Transportation approved container with no spill opening lid and contain it, but no more than 10 gallons, 5 gallons at a time.
So, okay, let me ask you, since we're here in Arizona and we have the cold and we have the hot, we have the cold and the hot, does that affect our gas?
It does. There is, of course, in the wintertime in Arizona, we have winter gas and we have summer gas. Some evaporate a little differently depending on ambient temperature outside. So there is a difference. But overall, especially in the summer, if you also have half a tank or less and your car is not going to be moving, the tank does sweat, so moisture gets inside, and now you have moisture, which is basically water, penetrating the gas, and that makes it gummy. And so when you go to start the car, it'll penetrate the fuel injectors. All of a sudden, you have a check engine light, and you have the car not running right and stumbling on you. So we want to avoid all of that.
So, okay, gas caps. Let's talk about that really quick, and then we're going to talk more about that. But, I just went and bought a new gas cap, and you were telling me to make sure that it seals right.
Correct. And the best thing you could do is you yourself can be your own first line of defense. Remove the gas cap and flip it over, and you'll see a rubber round O-ring gasket on there. And it's pliable, and just like rubber marshmallow. Squeeze it and make sure it's rubberized. And if it is, great, then you're good. And when you put it on, make sure you hear that click, click, ratcheting. A lot of people are very quick to, and then they have a check engine light come on. And then if you do have that gas cap, the rubber is cracked or dry rotted. These things cost very minimal, anywhere between $10 to $25, depending on where you buy it from. It's easy and you can pop it on yourself, and you want to make sure that you really get a gas cap that is from the manufacturer. I know a lot of aftermarket gas caps are there. They're inexpensive, but it won't seal right because the plastic casting is done differently. The round circumference might be too small. The rubber might not be thick enough. And so, yes, it's cheap, but it doesn't really work. So make sure you buy the gas cap from the dealership of the manufacturer of the car.
I like it. All right, I know you're gonna come back in the next half hour. We're gonna talk about, of course, gas prices, saving gas, ways to do things a little bit more. So I appreciate it. Tell them where Mazvo's located, Shahey. Where are you guys located?
Mazvo's located, yes, we are located at 4610 North 7th Street. We're 100 feet south of Highland on the west side of 7th Street.
Perfect. All right, we'll see you back here in just a little bit.
All right.